Hi, my name is Usha Arora. I'm part of the eBusiness Suite Supply Chain Management Applications area with responsibility for product development of discrete manufacturing applications.
And hi, this is Anil Modwel, part of the Discrete Manufacturing Product Development Group.
Today we will talk to you about the exciting new products and capabilities that we have rolled into our discrete manufacturing applications in release 12.2. I will start the presentation and Anil will join us back after a few minutes to carry on the discussion. So let's get started. I'll start with the safe harbor statement because we will be discussing what is on our radar next, some of the planned capabilities also. So we will be discussing new offerings, user experience innovation, enhancements in the discrete manufacturing execution system and electronic Kanban capabilities, and our roadmap. In this release 12.2, we have introduced several enhancements in the MES system, the electronic Kanban capabilities, in the area of self-service information discovery, mobile applications, brand new products for outsourced manufacturers, and in-memory applications. Basically, a broad spectrum of new capabilities that range from user experience innovation to enabling new business processes. So let me start with the first new offering, outsourced manufacturing. This is a product intended for the manufacturing companies who do business with contractors either for partially or fully outsourcing their manufacturing operations. This product provides a 360-degree view of all the outsourcing business operations, including subcontract statuses, on-hand inventory, the financial positions across your manufacturing partners. With this product, OEMs can track the health of their outsourcing operations across their multiple manufacturing partners. The next capability that I would like to introduce is our very exciting new product, Oracle In-Memory Cost Management. This product is intended for discrete industries, large manufacturers with global operations, and the product allows the manufacturers to very quickly assess and simulate the impact of any supply chain cost changes on their bottom line. Using the three key modules, namely Cost Impact Simulator, Cost Comparison Tool, and the Gross Profit Analyzers, the product can give you the information that you need within minutes, typically the kind of analysis that would require days. We are able to achieve this using Oracle's in-memory technology to power this application. The next set of applications and innovations come from our focus on the user experience innovation area. Our user experience strategy is focused on 4 different areas. First is to make it easily available, make the information easily available through easy search, view, and information discovery through Endeca technology. The second is making applications available on the go wherever applicable through smartphone manufacturing applications. The third set of focus area is tablet optimized applications. And the fourth is simplifying the user interfaces across our applications by using the capabilities being introduced in the underlying technology stack like Oracle Application Framework. So let me start with the first, the Endeca extensions for discrete manufacturing. With this new release, we have significantly enhanced the capabilities of discrete manufacturing Endeca extensions. We have introduced features like support for serialized manufacturing, discrete flex field support. We have added a lot more production metrics and alerts, several new charts and drill downs. So this application is intended for our discrete work in process users and manufacturing execution system users. Lot more rich capabilities in the product. The next is actually a brand new Endeca extensions for discrete quality. This extension provides the capability to easily search quality collection plans across the hierarchy, across the organizations, and a very powerful feature that is of immense value in this extension is the ability to search the unstructured text, for example, quality notes and comments, etc. The dashboard for the quality collection repository provides collection results, information on non-conformances, and corrective actions, etc. Let's talk about the smartphone applications. With the Oracle Open World 2014 last month, EBS rolled out more than 12 applications for smartphone use. I will talk about the 3 that are part of the discrete manufacturing application area. The first is mobile discrete production supervisor application. Available on the smartphone, this application allows supervisors easy access on the go to key information about the shop floor, and not only provides the information but allows them to take quick actions right from the phone. For example, as you can see in the screens, the phone application provides a quick view of what is the work order status on the shop floor, which work orders are in progress, which are delayed, which are on time, etc. The user can drill down into the details of each of these, and then based on the information presented, can also take contextual actions on these work orders and collaborate using the device integrations with other users as needed. On the same lines, we have also introduced a mobile project manufacturing applications, which is intended for project manufacturing application users. This application allows easy access to project inventory by task or by item to be queried very quickly on the go. For the product information area, we have introduced a product lookup information application that allows access to all attributes of a product being maintained in your product master. The application allows you to search the product, look at the product attributes, images, look at information like suppliers on a map, look at the on-hand availability, and the key information from your supply chain. The application can be configured for use based on the role of the users, so the information that is presented to the user is within the context of the user's authority in standard EBS application. Now let's talk about the tablet optimized applications. This is an area we are focused now. The applications for tablets are being built with a slightly different strategy. The plan is to build few applications, for example, a discrete manufacturing execution system operator application, another application optimized for supervisor, or for quality inspector. For these applications, the intention is to use the enhancements in the underlying technology stack that are being introduced to make the technology enabled for touch applications, touch-based applications, gesture support like swiping, tapping, and also device integrations. So I'll give you a quick preview of a prototype, what the discrete production supervisor application might look like, although I do have to state that this may undergo changes. So as you can see, this is a tablet-friendly look and feel with more spacing, the ability to able to tap much more icons, information which is contextual, and more status at the top through info tiles, and the ability to drill down as needed for any of these information being presented. This is what the current operator dispatch list looks like in desktop applications in our OAF screens today. Another way to present the same information using the new technology enablers, we are creating operator work list, something like what you are seeing right now. The application would provide contextual actions just like you saw on the smartphone applications, and similar information which is easily accessible and presented in a tablet-friendly manner. With this, joining me back is Anil Modwel, who would be talking about the discrete MES enhancements.
So let's talk about enhancements in the area of discrete MES now. So we continue to invest in different areas of MES, and you can see enhancements in the area of operator productivity, new features, configurability, and features that improve the shop floor visibility. So I'm going to talk about the circled items in a little bit more details later on. So to cover the other items on this slide, we now have an option where the operator gets automatically clocked out of previous work order when a clock-in transaction is made. So that essentially means that the operator is always clocked into one work order, and the time does not need to be apportioned to different work orders. In terms of new features, we have now the ability to capture the serial number of components at the point of use. So instead of tracking the serial numbers while the components are in inventory, you could just capture the serial numbers at the time it gets issued to the work order. So this enables maintaining genealogy between the assembly serial number and the component serial numbers, while avoiding the overhead of capturing and maintaining serial numbers while the item is in inventory. In terms of configurability, we do now have APIs for serialized manufacturing. So while MES supports transactions for a serialized assembly, transactions like move or recording material consumption, there are equivalent APIs now available. So if you want to plug in any of your other systems with MES, that is possible now. Also, we have exposed a lot of MES pages. We have made them secure so that the user can access them directly. So if you have another system which wants to, and you want to invoke an MES page directly from there, that is possible now. In terms of quality collection integration with MES, we do now have the ability to display the right number of rows depending on the business logic. For example, if you are moving 2 quantities and you would like operator to report quality for 2 of those assemblies, it's possible to just display the required number of rows instead of set number of rows, so that the operator clearly knows what data is expected to be input. In terms of shop floor visibility, we do now have a dedicated screen for a serialized assembly. So while you could earlier look at component and resource consumption at the entire work order level, now you can go down to a serialized assembly level and look at the quantity of component consumed at that particular assembly level. And you can also look at the serial numbers which are consumed for that end assembly serial. And now we do support serial number reservation at completion, so which is essentially at the time of completion being able to carry forward that linkage between sales order and the assembly serial number, so that the serial number continues to be tracked against that particular sales order. Before this, we only transferred the quantity reservation, but not really the exact serial number. That too has its advantages in terms of being able to ship different serial numbers to different customers. So this is an option which is available if it suits the business need. So with that, let's go into some of the screenshots on the other circled items here. So in terms of the enhancements we have done on the dispatch list, we have now some more criteria through which the dispatch list can be configured. And also, we do have ability to now view attachments right from the dispatch list, and it opens up into a separate browser window or a separate tab. Now, we heard this from various customers that the operators might want to keep looking at the attachments while they are reporting transactions on other screens. So this lets the user have the attachments open and kind of go back and forth between viewing the attachments and reporting the transactions. Also, we have a more user-friendly way now of updating job nodes right from the dispatch list instead of more granular and deeper navigation from here. And also we added ability to see who is the operator who did the last transaction on a particular job operation. This is a new scan-friendly screen for clock in and clock out. So if dispatch list is not the primary way you would like to carry out clock in and clock out transactions, this screen can be used either by a dedicated operator or a group of operators who are sharing the same terminal. So it's a scan-friendly screen which lets the operator scan the batch as well as job and operation and resource, and you might have barcoded labels for that on your shop floor. And it keeps track of all the operations at which you might have clocked in. And this lets the user carry out completions very easily, clock outs very easily, and also be able to retrieve records maybe at the beginning of the shift, or be able to just clock out of all the work orders at the end of the shift. Again, this is an alternate to the dispatch list-based navigation. In terms of the core clock-in, clock-out functionality itself, we had this feature available at the job operation level, but now we have taken it a level deeper at the resource level. We heard some use cases from customers that you would like to track more granular times within an operation. For example, there could be a case of setup, actual machine running, and a tear down. And maybe the same operator is doing these 3 tasks. So with the resource level clock in, these 3 can be defined as 3 different resources, and then the operator can do a clock in against the specific resource, so that later you could do an analysis of how much time is being spent on setup and tear down versus actual running of the machines. So the metrics on the supervisor dashboard are now is where you would now see all this information showing up. In terms of component transactions, specifically for serialized manufacturing, we have again a very simple user-friendly screen to be able to transact serial numbers. What the user does here is essentially scan the component, and the system detects whether the component is serial controlled or just a plain component. And the right fields appear on the screen after the component is scanned. If in certain cases attributes need to be captured for the serial number, the right fields to enter the attributes also appear. And the user kind of keeps adding to this list of tables to come up with, these are the components that need to be transacted. So if any changes need to be done, they can be done post-scanning. But essentially, the screen is totally reoriented from its current design to be able to more productively capture serial numbers reported by the operator. In terms of DKIT, this is again a brand new functionality to be able to take an assembly serial number, which is constituted of many component serial numbers, and be able to dekit it and return it back into inventory. Now, there can be many scenarios here. Let's take a scenario where an assembly is manufactured and it's shipped to the customer, and now you receive it back for repair or for complete dekitting. So earlier it was not possible to reuse the same serial number, to attach a same serial number to a work order and carry out that dekit operations. What we have done is a capability to now associate existing serial numbers in inventory to a non-standard work order. Also associate a routing which could represent a series of operations required to repair or dekit that particular assembly, and then be able to essentially return the components back into inventory if you so choose by just running one process. So instead of scanning each and every component out of that assembly, you could be doing that in a much more productive manner. Now, it's possible that some components are defective and you may not want to return it into inventory. And so those would need to be handled once the components are available in the supply sub-inventory. So we now do support contingent workers in MES. So at all places where it was possible for an employee to report a transaction, be it shift in, shift out, or defining a resource transaction, or capturing the badge during move transactions, at all these places, now it's possible for a contingent worker defined in HRMS module to be able to essentially scan their badge numbers in the system. And also the supervisor metrics, which displayed productivity, efficiency, and utilization for employees, now do show those metrics for contingent workers too. So with that, we'll switch to electronic Kanban, which is really a new product in 12.2. It comes in the same license as discrete MES. So if you have a discrete MES license, you get access to electronic Kanban features too in 12.2 release. So essentially, electronic Kanban as a feature existed in flow and inventory, but we added a lot more features to take it to the next level. So one of the key things is it's rewritten in Oracle's ADF technology stack. So it's a completely redesigned user interface. And we do have new features like replenishment order consolidation, which is essentially, say your supplier for a Kanban card would like to obtain purchase orders at a certain preset frequency. Maybe it could be once a day or twice a week or maybe only on Fridays. So now it's possible to set up all these consolidation rules of any predetermined frequency and be able to send those replenishment orders at that frequency rather than every time a card gets replenished, it triggers a replenishment order. We do have now automatic replenishment of cards too. So if the inventory on-hand positions are very accurate, then it's possible for the system itself to detect how many cards need to be replenished, so without having the user to signal a replenishment. But in this case, it's really essential to maintain the inventory on-hand positions really accurately to be able to make good use of this. We do now have a features for temporary cards. Before this, in our regular Kanban offering, we had either perpetual cards or non-replenishable cards which went for one cycle. But with this temporary cards, you could create cards to meet temporary spike in demand, which would run for preset number of cycles and then expire automatically, or they would expire at a particular date which is specified at the pull sequence level. Now you can have many user-defined statuses apart from the ones defined at the system level, which come out of the box. One common use case for that is if you want your suppliers to indicate more granular statuses, like the demand accepted or under manufacture or ready to ship or shipped, you get more visibility into the Kanban loop based on supplier updating and communicating those statuses back to you. And this can be defined at any stage, whether it's in-house or movement of material within the plant or for the supplier use case as we discussed. We do now provide APIs for importing Kanban cards, pull sequences, and any updates to Kanban. And there are business events which can be triggered based on, say, a certain pull sequence being resequenced, replanned. And this can be used for integrating your other systems into electronic Kanban. So I'm going to talk about these remaining three in a little bit more details in subsequent slides. So we do have 4 KPIs which are available as part of electronic Kanban, which lets you really monitor your Kanban by exceptions. So the first one is inventory health, which really looks at your card on-hand position and weighs it against the safety stock levels which are recommended for those items, and categorizes items into red, yellow, and green. Green is really where you want to be, in which case you are not carrying too much inventory or too little inventory. If you're carrying less inventory, it's categorized under red. And if you're carrying too much inventory, which in a Kanban system is also not a healthy situation, it would show up as yellow. And then we have another KPI for unmoved cards. If cards are stuck in certain statuses based on preset lead times, and they kind of exceed the preset values, then they show up as unmoved cards. So there could be, for example, cards which are stuck with your supplier, and they would show up in this KPI so that you could take mitigating actions to move that card or create temporary cards to meet any demand levels to be met. Similar to those, we have two more which compare the actual versus planned values for lead times as well as for demand. Now, in the last planning run, you might have come up with a forecasted demand or based on either historical usage of those items or through some planning process. But this metric lets you look at where are the deviations happening in terms of demand or lead time, and lets you drill down into planning module of electronic Kanban and replan those cards instead of doing a holistic planning. So here you can see one use case could be that there are 5 items which are in good health, one is in bad health showing up on this dashboard. So you might want to drill down into that one item and navigate to the planning workbench. So here is the new comprehensive planning dashboard where you can navigate to from the KPIs and run a plan for just that item. So instead of doing a holistic plan for the entire set of Kanban items in your enterprise or the organization, you could be doing ad hoc planning for that one item for which the inventory health seems to be going down. So here you could change the average daily demand and recompute the number of cards. And also be able to, before updating the production values, be able to look at the simulation for the next 30 days in terms of a horizontal plan, which is essentially a simulation of how cards would get replenished in the next 30 days and how on which dates you would be receiving those cards. So it's possible to look at that simulation and make any minor adjustments before updating the production values for that Kanban card. Again, in terms of planning, it's optimized to now have more user-defined attributes as part of your planning formula. Earlier, it was not possible to have various other attributes as part of the planning engine, but now if you want to track some other attributes which are of importance to your business, which don't come out of the box, it's possible to plug those into the planning formula. And electronic Kanban planning is not linked to flow manufacturing, so it can be used irrespective of defining any flow routings, as was the case in the earlier offering. In terms of Kanban replenishment, we do have now very simple user scan based screens where the user just scans the card and the system actually does every action which is needed to be done, so that the operator on the shop floor or the user on the shop floor doesn't have to worry about anything to do with those cards. Some use cases are temporary card retirement. So if the card was created for a temporary in number of cycles, on scanning it will be automatically retired. Another use case could be that you switched from supplier A to supplier B. So on replenishment, the card would automatically be retired and a new card get created for the new supplier. Or in another case, you might have implemented a Kanban plan where you downsize from 10 card system to a 8 card system for this item because you're expecting less demand. So when the user replenishes, it automatically retires the first 2 cards which come up for replenishment, and then the system kind of continues after that by replenishing the remaining of the cards. So in terms of integration with ICE supplier portal, there is a new tab now available which gives a Kanban-centric view to the supplier. So the remaining tabs in the supplier workbench, the supplier portal, is a more PO-centric view. But on the Kanban workbench, you kind of can choose how much of information you want to share with your suppliers in terms of the on-hand levels of the Kanban cards, and then give the suppliers ability to look at what cards and what items they need to be replenishing, and what is the history of the cards which they have been receiving and what's coming in the pipeline. So again, a Kanban-centric view, a holistic dashboard, which lets the suppliers look at their positions from multiple organizations. And if the volumes are high, there are APIs available through which supplier can feed information for Kanban updates. So hope that was a good overview of what we did in areas of discrete MES and electronic Kanban. And with that, let's look at our discrete manufacturing roadmap. So we'll continue to invest in mobility solutions, both smartphone and tablet apps. And we are considering apps for supervisor, operator, and project manufacturing in the next 0 to 12 months. We'll continue to invest in customer-driven enhancements, and some of them are shipping documents for outside processing, clean to build, which is essentially looking at whether the work order has enough components to be met to be able to release it on the shop floor. So looking at your inventory positions and then deciding whether a work order can be smoothly manufactured on your shop floor. This is more from an execution perspective because you might already have a planning recommendation, but taking decisions on the shop floor on which work orders to release. So that kind of functionality is what we are planning in our roadmap. And we do plan to invest in other areas as well, as you can see here in the slide. In terms of in-memory products, we're planning to come up with a bunch of applications that address the quality and the yield management aspect of and utilizing the new technologies which are available now, and essentially having a big data solution to manufacturing. Please look out for more information on that from us going forward. So Usha, I hope we covered a lot on what we have been doing in the area of discrete manufacturing.
Yes, I agree, Anil. I think this was a very comprehensive overview, and our customers find these capabilities useful, and also the roadmap that we have.
Sure. So thanks everyone for watching. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you.